Well, today is Palm Sunday. So I thought that I would read the story of Palm Sunday out of Mark. It seems to be the most accurate overall. Matthew almost copies it word for word in some places, and John copies almost word for word in some places, and Luke copies it almost word for word in some places. So it must have happened at least a very close proximity to it. So anyway, I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to talk about we're going to go beyond the story a little bit. As they approached Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village opposite you, and immediately as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, on which no one yet has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' you say, 'The Lord has need of it,' and immediately he will send it back here." They went away and they found a colt tied to the door outside in the street, and they untied it. Some of the bystanders were saying to them, "What are you doing untying that colt?" They spoke to them just as Jesus had told them, and they gave them permission. They brought the colt to Jesus and put their coats on it, and he sat on it. And many spread their coats on the road, and others spread leafy branches which they had cut from the fields. Those who went in front and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest." Jesus entered Jerusalem and came into the temple, and after looking around everything, he left for Bethany with the 12, since it was already late. The story has many, many, many meanings, and there's actually in the religious world, there's some arguments about how things happened. You know, one story says that this all happened. This journey to Jerusalem took 1 week. There's one story that says it took 6 months. There are so many things about this that we really don't know. The things that we do know is Jesus, the colt that he's talking about here, was a donkey. We do know that for fact. That has been proven in all of the literature that I've ever read, and the experts that I kind of listen to. The donkey is very, very, very symbolic. Now, what I was always taught growing up was that it was a sign of being humble and not looking, not trying to look like a king or a warrior or something. While that may be true, the donkey is a sign of peace. In that time, when a king rode a donkey, it was telling everyone he's coming in peace. If he rode a horse, it was, "We are coming to war." Jesus rode a donkey for a reason. He came in peace. He came with love. He didn't come to start a war. That takes on new meaning when the people that are lining the roads are yelling, "Hosanna." Hosanna means save now. These people were looking for a Messiah to come in a warrior fashion and run out the Romans, to defeat the Romans. This becomes evident as the week goes on, leading from now to Good Friday, because the chant goes from "Hosanna on the highest" to "Crucify him." Jesus came in peace. He didn't come in war. He didn't come to run off the Romans. He came to teach these people how living in love and peace will save them every time. It's a beautiful example for us, especially now with all of the terrorism and the evil that we see on the news. I say evil with quotation marks around it. We can fight that. We can fight drugs. We can fight terrorism. Or we can just allow our love and our peace to shine forth as Jesus showed. Things change. War will only attract more war. Look what we're up against. Now we have created ISIS. Now, whether, some of the beliefs are that the government created these guys at some point along the line to do something, for some purpose, and now they, like bin Laden, have turned on us. There are some people who think that it is a total fabrication, that there's really no such a thing. Whatever the case may be, we started some wars in their homeland. Whether they were justified or not, I'm not here to judge that. We went to their homeland, we dropped some bombs, we killed some people. We've got people attacking us back. War attracts war. Jesus knew that. Jesus believed and lived the truth that what you believe creates your reality. That what you send out, what you sow, is what you reap. Now, we don't know whether these people that were lining the roads changed and went from he's the greatest to kill him. We don't know if that's what happened, or if the people who were praising him left. What we do know is that Jesus arrived in Jerusalem around the Passover festivities. And those people could have been there for that and then had gone ahead and moved on. And then here's a whole new batch of people that were yelling, "Crucify him." We don't know how it shifted. But what we do know is Jesus arrived in peace. They were looking for a warrior. He came to spread love. They wanted somebody to do the job for them. It's a beautiful message for us. God's not going to step in and do everything for us. God will give us the power. He will give us the intelligence. He will give us the heart and the passion to do what we need to do. We can make the choices for our own goodness. We can make the choices for our own divinity because we are one with him. We are one with her. Jesus proves this over and over and over again. One of the other great lessons that I got from this was Jesus walked into this whole situation knowing what was going to happen. And if he didn't know line by line, to the letter what was going to happen, he had a pretty good idea. He foretold his death even before this journey. He knew what was facing him when he walked in there. However, he knew that the lessons that he could teach, being the master teacher that he was, had to happen. And so he set his intentions. He knew that he needed to get some things done before he was crucified. And he showed up. He followed through. That's a powerful statement for us. We may have to run through some tough times, but when we keep our focus on our intentions, when we keep our focus on highest good, it's not a problem. We can face whatever comes forward to us. Another thing Jesus did was he knew that he was going to be betrayed. He knew that he was going to be denied. He knew that he was going to be beaten. He knew that he was going to be hung up on that cross. He never once stopped loving. He never stopped loving them, even when he talked with them before they committed the act. I know you're fixing to do this to me, and I love you anyway. That's not going to stop. That is the Christ mind at work. Jesus showed us that through the Christ mind we can see the beauty and the love and the heart and the soul of others. We don't see their actions, or we don't let the actions define them. We see the person. We see the heart. We see the God in them. Namaste comes to mind. The soul in me sees the soul in you. What a beautiful way to live. It's absolutely wonderful. Jesus showed anger one time that we know of. One time that was written about. And it happened the day after the Monday, Palm Monday, if you want to call it that. He went into the temple, And he found the merchants and the thieves and the business happening in the church. If you look at this metaphorically, the church is the body temple. It is this vessel that we have, that we are given to travel the journey on this earth, to live in the Christ mind. The merchants and the thieves represent greed, and they represent the thievery, the negative, and some people call it evil things of earth, of the world. What I see happening here in the cleaning out of the temple is Jesus is saying, get back to your innocence. Get back to your purity. It doesn't mean you cannot have money. That's not what Jesus is saying when he throws the merchants out. Jesus doesn't say that money is evil in this. Jesus is saying, do not let greed take over. Do not let the negative, the darkness, the blackness rule your life. Bring the light back in. Plenty of ways to live your light and make money. Plenty of ways to be pure of heart and have a living that supports you. He never says you can't have that. He just says be pure of heart. Clean that temple out. Get rid of the things that no longer serve the goodness and that serve the connection, the oneness that you are with God. Maintain that connection without anything darkening or throwing shadows on it. Jesus gave us some beautiful examples, and this one, Palm Sunday, is one that when I read the facts that were written, and I call them facts, when I read what were written as facts, it was real easy to dismiss this because there are so many things that don't jive. You know, certainly something happened. The palm leaves, for instance. There were no palms in the area. You know, so that's why only John talks about the palm leaves, and somehow this day took on that meaning. All the rest of them just talk about they were cutting limbs off of trees, and there were some olive branches, yeah, but they were most of the stuff they were cutting and throwing on the road. It seems to be they were cutting the tall thrush-type plants out of the fields and laying them on the road, and then throwing cloaks and their clothing, their coats on the path. It was a sign of honor, no matter what you call it. Palm leaves were non-existent, but John apparently put them in there because they held a meaning of peace and held a meaning that he thought needed to be there. So it was real easy to get lost in the uncertainty of what really happened. But then when I was able to look at the metaphorical, if you will, meanings, the day took on a whole new meaning, and it kind of starts this week off with a new insight. Jesus knew what he was walking into, yet he walked into it with the Christ mind. He walked into it as the Christ. And he shows us, as he has done throughout the entire New Testament, Jesus shows us how we too can live. Now, we don't have to go climb up on a cross and hang there till we die. That's not at all what Jesus is saying. What Jesus is saying is when you allow that old life to die away, new life can come in. And we're going to talk more about that next week. But for this week, set intentions for your path. Follow that path from your heart. Know that in each and every person there is a goodness, there is a spirit that we can love and that we can hold on to, that we can embrace. Know that you're strong enough to handle it all. It's a great, great journey. Travel it well.